Do you remember April 2025? That was when Motorola made a big splash with its Razr 60. A year has passed. The foldable phone craze has died down a bit, and the devices have been tested by real life, pockets, drops, dust, and hundreds of thousands of opening cycles. Today, this device costs about 400 euros. And spoiler alert, for that price, it has become one of the best-selling foldable smartphones in Europe and Latin America. But why is that? Is it because of the brand's magic, or is it actually that good? Let's cut through all the marketing nonsense and break down how this phone holds up today, and why I won't be giving it only praise. Let's start with the unboxing, because that's where the first impression is made. Motorola still uses their signature touch with scented boxes. You open it up, and it smells like expensive perfume. It's a small thing, but it's still nice. But what's inside? The phone itself, documentation, a SIM card ejector pin, and a high-quality case that matches the color of the device. This is what it looks like. Let's put it on and see how it looks on the actual, phone. This is how it looks. I don't know. It covers most of it for protection. But this display, well, I don't know. It's not protected. And I also like that in 2025, there were chargers with Type-C, Type-C, Type-C. Because when did we do it? A week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, we did a review of the Realme 2, I don't even remember exactly, and it had USB-A and USB-C. And that's a big plus for this device. But one downside that I just noticed and remembered is that, although the official specs claim support for turbo power at 30 watts, there's no power adapter included in the box, and you can see this right on the box itself. Motorola has followed the eco-trend set by Apple and Samsung. If you don't have a powerful adapter at home, be prepared to spend another 20 or 30 euros. But I can say thank you for the included case. I like how it looks. It's not just a cheap piece of plastic, and honestly, I think it really protects the main part of the body. And now let's move on to the appearance of this device. The appearance is the main reason people buy the Razr 60 at all. The back panel is made of a silicone polymer. Let's take off our case and see what it looks like. Or simply put, it's eco-leather. After a year, I can say that this is a brilliant solution. The smartphone doesn't slip in your hands, it doesn't collect fingerprints, and it feels very pleasant to the touch. The frame is made from 6000 series aluminum, and the hinge is stainless steel. It has water resistance according to the IP48 standard. That means it's protected from dust, rain, and accidental splashes. But I would strongly advise against submerging it in a pool at a depth of 1.5 meters. This is not your classic monoblock phone. And another thing I like, I've just noticed how the Motorola logo and the Razr signature shimmer. As you can see, it looks really beautiful. And also, when closed, its thickness is almost 16 millimeters. It's like having a dense little pie in your pocket. But if we're talking about when it's open, it's an ultra-thin gadget, just 7.3 millimeters thick. But how does this hinge hold up after a year? The play has become a bit more noticeable, and the signature click when closing has lost its former firmness. The phones can still hold intermediate angles, but you can feel that the mechanism is a bit worn out. And let's move on to the design, specifically the screen. There are two of them here, as you might remember from last year. Let's start with the main primary screen. Inside, we're greeted by a huge 6.9-inch LTPO AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and a peak brightness of as much as 3000 nits. It's perfectly readable in sunlight. But what about the crease in the center? Yes, it's there. Yes, you'll feel it with your finger every time you swipe. After a year, the inner protective coating at the fold with a hardness level according to MIOOCI4 has developed tiny micro scratches from fingernails. And you just have to get used to it. But the most interesting thing is the external display. How can you notice it? It's a full-fledged 3.6-inch AMOLED screen with a 90Hz refresh rate protected by Gorilla Glass Victus. It's not just a toy for notifications, so what is it for? First, you can reply to messages in messengers using a full, albeit small, keyboard or voice input. Second, you can use the navigator without opening the phone. Third, you can switch music in Spotify or another service. Fourth, and most importantly, you can use it as a viewfinder for the main camera. Let's be honest, foldable phones have never been true camera phones because of the limitations in body thickness. And what do we have here? The main module is 50 megapixels with an aperture of 1.7 and optical image stabilization, OIS. Plus, there's an ultra-wide camera with 12 megapixels and a 120-degree angle, which can also work as a macro lens. The selfie camera here is 32 megapixels. And how does all this actually shoot in real life? In good lighting, it's excellent. The color reproduction is good here, and you can choose between two modes, either natural or simulated mount. That's why skin tones come out very realistic, without that Korean paleness or Chinese overprocessing. The only complaint about the camera is the lack of a 3D effect. For me, the zoom here is limited, from 0.5 times, which is the ultra-wide, up to a digital 10 times. At 10 times, honestly, the image turns into a mess, and everything becomes blurry. But in portrait mode, you can choose between focal lengths 24mm, 35mm, and 50mm. This is convenient for portrait shots. There's also a basic pro mode for those who like to adjust settings manually. And now, let's talk about the camera's special feature. For this flip phone, will enable the external display camera card function. And on the external screen, for the child you're photographing, there can appear, let me show you now. At the very least, a funny animation should spin to get them to look at the camera. For some reason I don't have it, but there's a child standing in front of me. I think that's pretty convenient. But what about video? The smartphone records in 4K at either 30 or 60 frames per second, both on the main and the selfie camera. There's a horizontal lock function. No matter how you rotate the phone, the horizon in the video stays perfectly level. Well, if we're talking about camera drawbacks, I'll mention that there is night mode shooting. Despite OIS in the dark, the automatic auto night vision mode tries to brighten the frame through software, which results in noise appearing masked by aggressive processing. At night, the ultra-wide camera becomes completely useless for me personally. We've talked about the design of our device and the cameras. Let's move on to the heart of this smartphone. And here beats the heart, a 14nm MediaTek Dimensity 7400X processor with MediaTek G615 graphics and UFS 2.2 storage. In my version, that's 8GB of RAM and 256GB of internal storage. I'll say right away, UFS 2.2 in 2026 for €440. That's just Motorola being stingy. They could have put in the faster UFS 3.1. But still, it's a matter of preference because we recently reviewed Vivo and Redmi devices, and many of them also use UFS 2.2 in 2026. So for me, this isn't really an issue. And how does it perform in everyday tasks? For example, Telegram, YouTube, all sorts of browsers. The phone literally flies. Here, it's Android 15 and it's clean without heavy skins. But what about games? Let's test it with PUBG Mobile. On high graphics settings, we get a stable 60 FPS. The gameplay is smooth, no complaints. If we take Genshin Impact for example, we set it to medium settings. The first 15 minutes, everything is great. Then the thin body of the Foldable starts to make itself known. The processor starts to throttle due to overheating. The frame rate drops and micro-freezes appear. The foldable design simply can't physically dissipate heat effectively. So the Razr 60 is definitely not a gaming smartphone. But let's talk about battery life. Here, a silicon carbon battery with a capacity of 4,500 mAh is installed. According to EU label tests, it has an energy efficiency class of A. In real life, thanks to the fact that you often use the small external display instead of the large one, at least ideally, the phone's hardware lasts for one daylight day. But if you open it up and get stuck on TikTok using the main display, you'll be running to the outlet by 6 in the evening. Charging is 30 watts wired and 15 watts wireless. By modern standards, that's pretty slow. A full cycle will take you about 1 hour and 20 minutes. But now, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Moto AI based on Google Gemini has been introduced here. And what can it do? It is integrated into Google Photos and offers features like Magic Eraser to remove unwanted people from photos and Magic Editor to edit photos. Artificial intelligence also helps optimize power consumption and improve the sound quality of the 3 microphones during calls. Is this useful? Yes. But there's nothing new here. This is a basic set of neural networks that all smartphones have nowadays. And let's sum up a year of using the Motorola Razr 60. And the pros. First, the price at €440. It's one of the most affordable tickets into the world of foldable devices. Second, the design and materials. Eco leather. Gorgeous. The phone looks and feels expensive. The external screen is actually functional, not just decorative. There's also pure Android 15 here. No ads or unnecessary software. But if we talk about the cons, if we go further, there are also some downsides. For example, in this configuration, they didn't include a power adapter in the box. Outdated UFS 2.2 memory, slow read/write speeds for large files, throttling in games. The thin body heats up quickly under load. Night photography is also weak here. The cameras lack enough light sensitivity in the dark, and we've compared the pros and cons. So, who is this device suitable for? If you want a stylish, unique gadget, are tired of the same old slabs and monoblocks, love taking selfies with a good main camera, do not spend all day playing heavy games, and basically just need a phone for social media and communication, then the Motorola Razr 60 is still worth every cent even a year later. It brings emotions, and that's something truly valuable in modern technology. But if you need maximum performance, top-notch night photos, and durability, you'd be better off buying a classic flagship for the same money. What do you think about Motorola flip phones? Would you dare to buy the Razr 60 today? Let us know in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.